The Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Soko in Judah. Their tents spread across the land at Ephes Damim, between Soko and Azekah. Across the valley, King Saul and the armies of Israel took their stand in the Valley of Elah, forming battle lines against their enemy. One army stood on one hill, the other on the opposite hill, with the wide valley lying between them. From the Philistine camp stepped forward a champion named Goliath of Gath. He was a giant of a man, towering, broad, and terrifying to behold. His height reached 6 cubits and a span. A bronze helmet covered his head, and his body was protected by a coat of bronze scale armor, so heavy it weighed thousands of shekels. Bronze greaves shielded his legs, and a massive javelin was slung across his back. His spear was thick like a weaver's rod, its iron tip alone weighing hundreds of shekels. Ahead of him walked a shield bearer, carrying protection large enough to cover a man. Each day Goliath strode into the valley and raised his voice toward Israel. "Why do you come out and line up for battle?" he shouted. "Am I not a Philistine, and are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and send him to fight me. If he kills me, we will serve you. But if I kill him, you will serve us." Day after day, morning and evening, for 40 days, Goliath stood and defied the armies of Israel. And each time fear spread through the camp of Israel. King Saul and his soldiers were dismayed and terrified. No one stepped forward. Now David was the youngest son of Jesse, a man from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and his 3 eldest, Eliab, Abinadab, and Shammah, had followed Saul into battle. David remained behind, tending his father's sheep, traveling back and forth between Bethlehem and Saul's camp. One day, Jesse said to David, "Take this roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread to your brothers. Hurry to their camp. Take these cheeses to their commander. See how your brothers are doing, and bring back word." Early the next morning, David left the sheep with another shepherd and set out as his father had instructed. When David reached the camp, the army of Israel was marching out to its battle positions, shouting the war cry. He left his supplies with the keeper, ran toward the front lines, and greeted his brothers. As he was speaking with them, Goliath stepped forward once more, shouting across the valley. David heard it. He watched as the men of Israel turned and fled in fear. David asked the soldiers nearby, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" The men told him of the king's promise: great wealth, the king's daughter in marriage, and freedom from taxes for his family. But David's words reached his eldest brother. Eliab burned with anger. "Why have you come down here?" he demanded. "And with whom did you leave those few sheep?" I know your heart. You came only to watch the battle." David answered calmly, "What have I done now? Can't I even speak?" He turned away and asked others the same question. Soon word reached King Saul, and David was summoned before him. David stood before the king and said, "Let no one lose heart. Your servant will go and fight this Philistine." Saul looked at him in disbelief. "You cannot go," he said. "You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior since his youth." But David replied, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and took a lamb, I went after it and struck it down. I rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it, struck it, and killed it. The Lord who rescued me from the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine." Saul paused, then said, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." He dressed David in his own armor, his tunic, a coat of armor, and a bronze helmet. David tried to walk, but the weight slowed him. "I cannot go in these," David said. "I am not used to them." So he removed the armor. Instead, David took his staff, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, placed them in his shepherd's bag, and took his sling in hand. Then he walked toward Goliath. The Philistine advanced, shield-bearer before him. When he saw David young and unarmed, he despised him. "Am I a dog," Goliath roared, "that you come at me with sticks?" He cursed David by his gods. "Come here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." David answered without fear, "You come against me with sword, spear, and javelin," he said, "but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. The whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. The battle is the Lord's." As Goliath moved forward, David ran toward him. He reached into his bag, took a stone, placed it in his sling, and hurled it. The stone struck Goliath on the forehead, sinking deep. The giant fell face down to the ground. David ran to him, took Goliath's own sword, and cut off his head. The Philistines saw their champion was dead, and they fled. The men of Israel and Judah surged forward with a shout, pursuing them all the way to Gath and Ekron. When they returned, they plundered the enemy camp. David took Goliath's head to Jerusalem and kept the Philistines' weapons. As Saul watched, he asked his commander, "Whose son is that young man?" When David was brought before him, still holding the giant's head, Saul asked, "Whose son are you?" David answered simply, "I am the son of your servant Jesse of Bethlehem."